Frank Mrvan exposes Kash Patel's contradictions. That's the moment everything in this hearing shifted. One simple question, one routine inquiry, and suddenly the room tightened as if everyone sensed what was coming next. Because when Congressman Frank Mrvan pressed Kash Patel about a mysterious internal email, what should have been a quick clarification turned into a sprawling tangle of denials, reversals, and uncomfortable pauses that revealed something far more serious than a clerical mistake. It exposed confusion inside one of the most powerful agencies in the country and contradictions that Patel could not talk his way out of.
Mr. Van.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Director Patel. In a local situation in Maryville, Indiana, within my district, I have a high-intensity drug trafficking area, HIDA, which receives federal funding. That works with the local law enforcement. We are the crossroads of America near Chicago. The drugs that you're talking about are transported through those areas all the time. With these budget cuts, can you talk about how those HIDA and agencies will be funded?
Absolutely. Thank you, sir. It's like any other successful mission set that we have at the FBI. And HIDA, I worked on as a terrorism prosecutor as myself. Extremely critical because, like some of the other situations across the country, that region has been recognized, unfortunately, because of the high-intensity drug flow. In order to countermand it, we have to keep these task forces open, up and running, and funded. But in order to do that, we can't just flood it only with federal funds and federal personnel committed to working with our state and local partners, because that's what makes HIDA successful. My experience in HIDA wasn't in your district, but down in the Southern District of Florida, and I can't imagine it being too different in terms of how we proceed and how to make that successful.
Okay. My next question is, just recently you had a visit to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. Just please tell me how that cyber tip line and how that program's future looks with these $500 million cuts.
We actually partner wonderfully with NCMEC, and we've committed to allowing our FBI employees to remain there no matter what. We will find a way to fill that mission set, even if, even under the most austere of budget cuts, because what they do is exceptional. If people don't know, they need to go there and see it. It's right in Arlington, Virginia. They find missing children from 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years ago, and they provide treatment to those that have been abused.
Okay.
And so you have my commitment, sir, that we'll do it.
I appreciate that. And according to the domestic terrorism operations sections, the internal tagging system used to track domestic terrorism investigations was eliminated, and the staff of 16 was reduced. Can you tell me that future and where you hold that program?
Sir, if I may, can I get back to you on that in writing, because I'm not familiar with that off my
Okay.
head.
Then in your written testimony, you had talked about cybersecurity. I'm going to tie two things together. The FBI agents, are they still currently, at the end of every week, emailing the 5 things that they've accomplished?
I'm glad you raised that point, sir. We never did that.
Okay.
I stopped
The
that.
FBI agents were never asked to put in their goals in which they accomplished?
The,
The reason why I say that is because I had a specific conversation at a retirement party of a chief from an agent who expressed to me that after he had chased a car down 8094 who had stabbed a family member, and he left his home and was able to prevent that individual from killing someone else because it was cross state lines, that he had to go back, and then that next day was told he had to fill out his emails of what he accomplished.
that email was sent across government agencies.
So it was sent to the FBI.
It was sent to.
So you just said it was never sent to the FBI. So was it or was it not?
It was sent to the FBI. I, as the director of the FBI, said we are not.
Who sent it?
We are not responding to it. It came from a general account at the department.
Okay, so then my next question is, that information that my FBI agent in my district sent to that agency, how is that information protected?
I'm sorry, are you saying the agent responded to that email?
Are you saying they did not?
I told the workforce not to.
But you just told me that they received the email.
We did.
So without this, let's just assume that they did. Where did that information go and how is it protected?
That information would have only been sent to their immediate supervisor, and every supervisor in the Bureau was told if they received any such information, it is not to be actioned in any way.
So what happened with that information with the supervisors?
I don't know. Well, I'll have to get back to you on that, if any was collected, but if it was.
So you said that the FBI, that a different agency sent that email. What was that agency?
It came from the Department of Justice.
Okay. And those emails never went back to the Department of Justice who requested it?
No, sir.
Okay. And you're 100% confident of that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. The information that the supervisors had from those agents, where did that go?
That should not have been transmitted anywhere. We got on top of it fast enough where I believe, and I'll
Because you
double
thought
check.
it was wrong?
I thought the.
Why did you prevent it?
Because the operational mandate that we have at the Bureau, in my opinion, prohibited the public disclosure of that information across our media.
So to be perfectly clear, the Department of Justice got it wrong.
I'm not speaking for the Department of Justice, as
But you
I
are
said.
saying that that directive was in complete conflict of what your procedures and processes are.
My procedures and processes are under the Department of Justice. I'm saying as a subordinate of the Department of Justice, that's where the email came from. I don't know where it came from on top of them.
But your directive was to make sure that the Department of Justice did not get the FBI information,
That no one got it.
except the supervisors. Why would they
If-
request it if they would never get it?
Well, the supervisors were told to stand down. What I'm trying to say is, when that email came in, we acted as fast as we could, I think the same day, to say we are not in a position to do that. Everybody hit pause till we figure out what to do. And the end result was, we at the FBI are not complying with that request to publicly do so. And we told agents that if you feel the need to express that information to your supervisors, only do so on the classified system.
Okay. The information that I received, that personal conversation that I had, that agent didn't seem like he felt the need. He felt it was a directive. I thank you for your forthcoming. I look forward to working with you. The purpose of me bringing up this questioning was to make sure that that information is secure.
Yes, sir.
Thank you
I'll
very
double
much.
check.
Mr. Moore.
I yield back.
No matter how carefully he tried to shape his answers, that it all began with what sounded like a harmless administrative concern. An email supposedly sent across government agencies asking FBI agents to list their weekly accomplishments. On paper, that sounds almost mundane. Plenty of jobs require weekly reports. But FBI agents are not office administrators logging spreadsheets and meeting minutes. They are dealing with active cases, violent incidents, classified intelligence, domestic terrorism investigations, and cross-state criminal activity. Their work cannot be summarized casually, and certainly not through an unsecured channel. So when Mrvan raised the question, he wasn't nitpicking busy work. He was probing a potential breach in process that demanded absolute clarity. Patel responded quickly, almost too quickly. No, he said, the FBI never asked agents to provide such weekly summaries. No directive was issued. No internal policy required it. It was a clean, confident answer. Except Mrvan wasn't relying on rumors or vague third-hand reports. He had spoken directly with an agent in his home district, a veteran who had chased down a suspect who stabbed a family member and fled across state lines. That agent went on record saying he was told to send those weekly updates. This wasn't speculation. This wasn't political theater. This was first-hand testimony to S.O. The question came again, this time more pointed. If agents say they received the email, how can the Bureau say they didn't? And just like that, the denial cracked. Patel shifted. He acknowledged the email was sent. Yes, it reached the FBI. But, he emphasized, it didn't originate from inside the Bureau. It came from a general account at the Department of Justice. That was the first major contradiction. First, he claimed it never happened. Then he admitted it did. And that wasn't even the most troubling part. Because the moment Patel said the email originated from DOJ, the stakes changed. This wasn't a miscommunication among agents. This wasn't a clerical misunderstanding. This raised the possibility that DOJ directives were reaching FBI agents without proper authorization or internal vetting. An agency asking agents to log accomplishments might sound routine, but in the context of law enforcement operations, it could compromise sensitive investigations. And if DOJ sent the directive without coordinating with the Bureau, that revealed a deeper systemic issue. Mrvan picked up on that instantly. If DOJ sent the email, who inside DOJ approved it? Why was it sent to agents working on classified cases? Who requested the information? And what was the intended use? Suddenly, the hearing wasn't about performance reporting. It was about the chain of command, and whether that chain had broken. Patel tried to steady the situation by saying he personally told the FBI workforce not to respond. He claimed leadership acted quickly to stop agents from sharing anything. But that raised even more questions. If it was so important to shut it down, why? What exactly about the email was dangerous, inappropriate, or out of bounds? And how did it get sent in the first place? Then Mrvan delivered the question Patel clearly didn't want to answer. Where did the information go if any agent responded before Patel intervened? Patel said supervisors were told to hit pause. But that didn't answer the question. Did any information get transmitted? If so, who accessed it? Was any of it stored? Was any of it forwarded back to DOJ? Patel hesitated. He didn't know. He'd have to get back in writing. That phrase, "I'll have to get back to you," became the quiet alarm bell of the entire exchange. Viewers could feel it. Lawmakers could feel it. Patel himself likely realized, in that exact moment, that he didn't actually know where the data went or how secure it was. For someone sitting in a confirmation hearing, facing questions about oversight and accountability, that was not a reassuring answer. And then came the pivotal moment. Mrvan asked the question that had been building underneath every previous question. If the directive came from DOJ and the FBI refused to comply, does that mean DOJ got it wrong? Patel froze. Not visibly, not dramatically, but with the kind of internal tension that only appears when someone is cornered between two unacceptable answers. Admitting DOJ got it wrong means saying the department overseeing the bureau issued a flawed or dangerous directive. Admitting the FBI defied DOJ means acknowledging internal rebellion. S.O. Patel took the only path available. He tried to answer without answering. He said he wasn't speaking for DOJ. He said bureau procedures must be followed. He said supervisors were told to stand down. He said leadership acted quickly. He said agents should only share information through classified systems if they felt they had to. Every sentence avoided the heart of the question. Every sentence deepened the contradiction, and Mrvan, experienced enough to recognize when a witness is slipping, stayed calm. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't escalate emotionally. He simply kept asking, where did the information go? Why was the email sent? What agency requested it? Are you 100% certain nothing was transmitted? He kept the questions grounded in facts, and in doing so, he exposed how shaky the answers were. What made the moment so compelling wasn't loud confrontation. It was the quiet unraveling. Patel entered the exchange, insisting the email never existed. Minutes later, he was explaining why he told the workforce not to respond to it. He began by claiming nothing happened. He ended by acknowledging something happened, even if he couldn't explain who initiated it, why it was initiated, or where the information might have gone. This wasn't about ideology or political theater. It was about trust. Internal communication inside federal agencies must be airtight. Sensitive information must be protected. Directives must be clear, authorized, and traceable. When a simple question, "Who sent it?" cannot be answered cleanly, that signals a deeper vulnerability. Even the suggestion that information may have been mishandled or sent without proper approval is enough to undermine confidence in the system. And that's exactly what made Mrvan's persistence so important. He wasn't searching for a soundbite. He was searching for accountability. When you press a senior official and they can't tell you where sensitive data went, or how it was stored, or who might have accessed it, that's not a minor issue. That's a systemic warning sign. Yet there's also a broader context worth noting. This exchange fits a pattern many observers have pointed out regarding Patel's testimony style. When asked difficult questions, the answers become indirect. Responsibility becomes diffuse. Follow-up responses, in writing, appear more often than clear answers. None of this proves wrongdoing, but it does highlight unease. When the story changes mid-testimony, from "never happened" to "it happened but shouldn't have," trust erodes. That be why the time the questioning ended, something significant had been revealed, even if the facts remained cloudy. The contradictions themselves were the revelation. The uncertainty was the message. Mrvan didn't need Patel to confess to anything. The lack of clarity spoke for itself, and perhaps the most striking part of this entire exchange is what it represents. A functioning oversight system depends on straight answers. When an elected representative asks about an internal directive that could compromise investigations, the response must be precise. Anything less raises doubts about the integrity of the process. And in this case, the process seemed as unclear to Patel as it was to everyone else. The public rarely gets to see these cracks in real time. Usually they're buried in reports, redacted documents, or quiet internal memos. But here, in front of the cameras, viewers saw hesitation. They saw uncertainty. They saw contradictions unfold line by line. That's what makes hearings like this so important. They bring hidden problems into the open. They force transparency where silence might otherwise in the end. Mrvan's questioning wasn't about catching Patel in a lie. It was about exposing the gaps, the internal confusion, the unexplained directives, the lack of documented accountability. When agencies handle sensitive national security information, those gaps are unacceptable. And no matter how carefully Patel tried to navigate the questions, the contradictions exposed themselves. This wasn't a dramatic blow-up or a headline-grabbing accusation. It was something more revealing, a moment where the truth slipped out not through confession, but through confusion. A moment where the cracks showed. And that's why this exchange matters. Because accountability is not optional. Clarity is not optional. When oversight collapses into uncertainty, the system falters. And when contradictions appear under questioning, it's a sign the public deserves a much clearer picture than what they've been given. If you want breakdowns that go beyond headlines and expose the deeper issues behind these hearings, make sure to subscribe, like the video, and turn on notifications. Your support keeps this analysis going and keeps accountability in focus.